This comes to us from Games Radar. Ubisoft CEO says Assassin's Creed Shadows cost over $100 million to make. But that's not shocking if you sat through the game's 2-hour credits. Okay, so a couple things just first off before I even go through this article, just the headline alone. That it's a very not specific number. Saying over 100 million literally means nothing because that could mean infinite money. There were some numbers being thrown out and rumors that theoretically, with the marketing and everything else, I saw people saying that this could have been upwards of $800 million or more to create Assassin's Creed Shadows. Now, not just create the game, but remember, it was also delayed nearly half a year after it was being put together for, 5-6 years? All the consultants, developers, testers, marketing, everyone at Ubisoft, all hands on deck, putting on this game. Ubisoft has nearly 20,000 employees. Now, not all 20,000 were working on this game, but a large amount of them, I would argue, were. And a 2-hour credit screen tells me, putting all the numbers I just threw out there to you guys, that I would argue this is the most disingenuous way to tell people that a game costs way more than $100 million by saying it cost over $100 million. Well, fucking duh. Of course it cost over $100 million. How much did it cost? This is meaningless. Yves Guillemot sheds some light on the game's production costs. In case there was any doubt, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot has properly confirmed that the company's latest blockbuster, Assassin's Creed Shadows, cost at least 100 million, I believe that's euro, maybe pounds, I don't know, around 116 million to make, which doesn't seem that dramatic in context of other big budget games. Yes, because that's a lie. What does Ubisoft do really well with investors? As I've covered previously, lie. They are disingenuous with their own investors. And if you can't trust a company you're investing in, why the fuck would you invest with that company? They have been nothing but disingenuous. This goes all the way back to when Assassin's Creed Shadows was getting ready to launch, and investors were talking to them about the game. And they were saying, yes, we're seeing a lot of engagement in the community, a lot of positive sentiment around this game. Now, these investors do not play games. They do not care about what's going on. They do not watch many of the YouTube videos, or at least they didn't before it started tanking. I'd argue a lot more of them started watching them being like, what the hell's happening right now? But they're very out of touch with what is actually happening with the game that's being created. So Ubisoft was, in my humble opinion, straight up lying to the investors on their earnings call, hoping to kick the can down the road another quarter to keep their jobs a little bit longer while the ship is burning down. We don't disclose production costs, the publisher's boss said in a recent financial meeting, before eventually noting that it did cost over $100 million. We'll just say that. Guillemot added that the company doesn't give any financial costs and that it also invested heavily in the engine used to make Assassin's Creed Shadows, which likely inflated its budget too. That's another thing, by the way. Ubisoft has a proprietary, what is it, the snow something engine, snowflake engine, and making a game engine costs so much money. And it's almost to the point of if it's even worth doing, or you just want to pay the royalties to Unreal. Because making your own proprietary engine, sure, you don't have to pay royalties to anyone, and you can even sell it to other companies, theoretically, and get royalties from them. But the money that goes into creating your own engine would destroy most companies. And if we're talking about how much money was into the engine, on top of everything I just talked about with the 2+ hours of credits rolling for Assassin's Creed Shadows, and he's like, yeah, it's over 100 million. Bro, we're talking north of $1 billion, and I'm not even joking. when you add in the cost of the engine. Either way, the 100 million figure is a loose budget, which is the nicest way to say it. The Insomniac Games leaks revealed that Marvel's Spider-Man 2 had a mega budget totaling over 300 million. While we also know from leaked documents that Last of Us Part 2 and Horizon Forbidden West both cost more than 200 million to make. With those figures and Assassin's Creed Shadows' absolutely giant 2-hour-long credits in mind, we can speculate that the open world game budget likely exceeded the 100 million mark as well. Yeah, I didn't need Yves Guillemot on an investor call to say, yeah, it costs more than 100 million. Again, we know you fucking moron. Like, give us more specific. Give us a range. Was it between 100 and 150, or was it between 700 and 800? Like, where was it over 100? Despite the high cost, the Japan set Assassin's Creed seems to have done pretty well for itself anyways, which press X to doubt. The company previously called Assassin's Creed Shadows launch a defining moment. Of course they did. Again, same company that always lies to their investors. These words mean nothing. That reaffirmed how strong the series would be. And it's apparently outperformed Assassin's Creed Odyssey in terms of sales and player count at this point in both games' respective life cycles, which, if that's the case, that's decent. But it also doesn't take into account that Assassin's Creed Odyssey came out 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and Shadows came out last year, or no, what? I can't remember now. 6 months ago? No, 3 months ago. Man, I'm losing track of 2025. Came out this year, and the game's not great, but the cost of employment has skyrocketed. So even if you are to say that the game sold better than the previous one, it doesn't mean you're making the money, the revenue that you made previously. Plus, there's no sign it'll be slowing down either. The Assassin's Creed Shadows roadmap is packed. Of course, they got to give Ubisoft a pat on the back towards the end of this. It says Assassin's Creed Shadows updates adds nightmare difficulty and an open world alarm system, potato mode for low NPCs, and a new story quest crossing over with D&D series Critical Role. Again, great. I'm glad that Ubisoft keeps pouring more time, energy, effort into Assassin's Creed Shadows. But all of this goes back to the main problem that I have with the game is it's just not that fun. It's the funniest part of it. Could have been more fun if they put everything into the game to maximize the fun factor and getting your time value out of playing it. I never felt that. And I genuinely wanted to give this the old college try of, I know I was ragging on it. I know that it was a DEI injection with Yasuke, but I wanted to still be like, okay, put all the DEI stuff aside, put that injection, the ideologies, all that, just set it aside and play this as a game. And is it a fun game? And I came away from it like parts of it were. The stealth areas were pretty cool. And then you start playing more and you're like, oh, it's just doing that again and again. And in between, you have these storyline modes that just are terrible. With the voice acting is some of the worst voice acting I've ever heard. In fact, I would almost argue it was so bad that was one of the motivating factors to going back to playing the game, is just to get to the next cutscene to laugh at the terrible voice acting. And that's not what you want when you're playing a game. If you're a mega corporation, you don't want people playing a game to laugh at it. I mean, money is the same color no matter why people bought it. But for longevity purposes, especially for the series, I feel like that's going to have a massive negative impact on the Assassin's Creed brand. And Ubisoft as a company has been completely falling apart at the seams for years now. And Assassin's Creed, once one of the pillars of not just Ubisoft, but the entire video game industry, has fallen so far that I would argue it's not even in the top 10 of games people think about or series people think about when it comes to big series in gaming anymore. Think about that for a second. One title had the power to completely ruin that. That's wild. So I guess when it comes to DEI and injecting into a game, I hope it was worth it, Ubisoft. But even beyond that, the greed on top of it is just doubling down. Like the DEI wasn't even enough. They're like, we also need to be greedy and remove what makes it fun from the game to make people feel like they have to buy more to have fun with the game that they just bought. And I still, just verbalizing that, I still can't even get over that the company did that. That's hysterical. In the modern era of gaming, with competition at a premium, money being thrown around everywhere, and they resort to doing that kind of stuff. What the hell do you think's gonna happen? Oh God, that's classic. Oh, Ubisoft, thank you for providing the entertainment, laughing at your games. But I'll leave that there.